Who does Trump care about?
Himself, period, full stop. It's not complicated. He doesn't care if he's the heel or the hero as long as he's the star. And that's just anyone that's spent time with him. I've spent time with as much or more than any Democrat, certainly any Democratic governor in the country, period, full stop. I did it through COVID, his first term, and certainly even in the second term.
And what surprised you?
Nothing. The surprised me now is that he's a very different guy than he was in the first term. There's no limits now. There's a megalomania there.
Megalomania.
He feels no limits now, and you feel that in every way. He can say and do whatever the hell he wants, and there's no oversight, there's no advise and consent, there's no co-equal branch of government. Speaker of our House of Representatives completely abdicated that. The question is, do the courts hold up, or we the people? And I'll tell you that, and we're celebrating our 250th anniversary of the Founding Fathers, the best of the Roman Republic, Greek democracy, and this notion of system of checks and balances, popular sovereignty, and I think it's on life support now, and I don't say that lightly. I say that very thoughtfully, and I say that as a guy that's watched the President of the United States not send military in his first term or in the first 6 months anywhere in the world except to an American city, where he has 5,000 military in the streets of Los Angeles, a war within. So I say this very soberly and mindful of the moment we are in American history.
Do you think he wants to see you fail?
I think he wants to take me out and down at the same time. I think he enjoys the sparring with me. I think he thrives on it. I know he does.
Because he calls you Gavin Newsom.
Yes.
But then meets with you privately.
Yeah.
And what are those meetings like?
Unbelievably cordial. It drives people crazy when I say this, but I'd be lying if I didn't say it. Every time I have a conversation, including the night before he, quote unquote, federalized the National Guard, we had an unbelievably good conversation. And we were going back and forth. He said, use this cell phone. Keep calling me on this cell phone directly. You need anything, call me. You need anything, call me, which is an amazing final statement as I hung up, only to read 8 hours later that at New Scum, I read him the Riot Act, which he never did, completely 100% made it up, and then federalizes the Guard. It's a game. It's a show. It's a dangerous game. And it's a very exhausting show. And it's becoming derivative and more dangerous.
Isn't this just how politics goes in America?
No, it shouldn't. Look, I used to have my beef with George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush. We'd have our beefs on the other side. Republicans, certainly with Clinton or Obama or even Biden. Longed for those days. University, I go in the office of Ronald Reagan's old office, Governor Ronald Reagan. That's my old office as governor of California. I mean, his last speech in the Oval Office, his last speech was about the life force of new Americans, Lady Liberty's torch, our better angels. I mean, what happened to that Republican Party? This is different. This is darkness.
Really?
Darkness.
Because I hear this every election cycle.
No, this is dark. We're only 6 months in.
Mm-hmm.
The vandalization that he's done to this democracy and institutions. I mean, eliminating oversight. I'm not just talking about a co-equal branch of government.
What does that mean for the average person that doesn't know anything about
politics? It means he's eliminated the inspector general's auditing capacity. He's going after political opponents, removing them from key positions of power and influence and putting in acolytes, putting out people that just do his bidding. He's pushing the boundaries on the rule of law. He's threatening to recall, not just people he disagrees with. He wanted my arrest. Remember, the President of the United States said Newsom should be arrested. They said, on what grounds? He got elected. Said he doesn't like the fact that his political enemy got elected. It means he doesn't say that lightly. And once a mind is stretched, it never goes back to its original form. So every time he does this, he's sort of testing these boundaries. And this is what makes me more concerned. I'll give you a proof point. God is my witness. We're sitting here. When we do this today on this podcast, I just read this morning that Donald Trump was on the phone with the Texas legislature, and they're going through a redistricting thing to basically get 5 more seats for the midterms because they're likely to lose the midterms, and Trump is likely to lose power unless they can change the districts and rig the game so he stays in power.
Do you think he's going to try and stay in power?
When people
beyond his time,
close to Donald Trump send the governor of California a hat that says Trump 2028, they're not fucking around.
They sent you a hat saying Trump 2028.
2028. They're not screwing around. I sat in the Oval Office for 90 minutes with Donald Trump, first Democratic governor to do that. And he looked around and said, hey, see who's behind you? I said, I looked around the pictures, I'm like FDR. And I literally turned, I'm like, oh, seriously? He goes, yeah. He goes, what do you think, 3 terms, 4 terms? I said, oh, come on. And then he starts laughing because he's just lighting, he's having fun. But again, he's throwing things out. He's iterating.
Do you think he would stay for a third, fourth term?
I mean, I think he's the guy that tried to wreck this country, tried to light our democracy on fire. He said it was a day of love, January 6th, so much so that he literally, as you know, pardoned everybody that participated in that melee. I mean, that happened. That is grounds in and of itself to question whether or not I'm overstating anything. And that was first week in office. I mean, this is shock and awe. We have people in masks going to car washes without identifying, and people are disappearing. In the streets of America today, thousands of people disappearing on the streets of America today based on what you look like, your skin color. On the streets of America today, that's happening. That is not normal. And every day he's able to shapeshift and distract us to move someplace else. I've got a big announcement, huge announcement on Putin. I'll do major sanctions in 50 days. Really? I mean, this ability to distract, it's serious. What lies underneath is serious. And I don't think I'm exaggerating it. And I'm very, very cautious when it comes to this kind of language, because you're right. When you tend to say, start crying wolf here. I don't think we're overstating the seriousness that we have to push back, the seriousness of purpose to which this moment needs to be met, that is.
Really? This is not just another, president comes in, they do a bunch of changes, a bunch of executive orders, and then they leave in 3.5 years.
He tried to stay into office. He called the elections chief in Georgia and asked, I just need a few thousand votes. He wasn't fucking around. He was not joking about that. He was dead serious about that. And had they found that, he would have rigged his own election. You serious? What more evidence do you need? He's quite literally, they're so concerned about taking over the House now, Democrats, we're on path to do it. They have to rig the game. And you think if they don't take back the House of Representatives, they won't move from some form of voter suppression, the likes of which we've never seen in this country? Threats of martial law. What do you think this whole experiment with 5,000 military, weeks and weeks and weeks, doing nothing, by the way. They're sitting in the armory. They're doing nothing. They're there for show, but he's pushing the boundaries of what they're capable of doing, testing the courts and the Constitution. That's for a larger purpose. And I'm not trying to be, it may not be intentional purpose yet, but they'll place an opportunity to utilize the lessons learned here today to extend their reach and power tomorrow. And I very much, yes, I worry about our democracy in 3.5 years. And I worry about that election if they maintain their power in the House of Representatives. I'm that deeply concerned, dead serious.
On the balance of probability, do you think it's likely Trump will try and stay in office in 2028?
On the balance probability, no.
No, okay.
But I can see a scenario, but not on the balance probability. And that's on the basis of one thing, time of life.
Oh, okay.
If he was 69, not 79, look, this is the great grift. He did what he never did in the first term. He played in the margins. He was able to take advantage of his brand and his businesses and make a few bucks here and there, but not the money he's making now. I mean, the crypto, everything he's doing. I mean, the kids now selling cell phones, the whole thing, monetizing everything, coming out with new brands and new plans. I mean, he finally is doing what he didn't do the first term. He's president of the United States, but now he's going to make a fortune. So when he's no longer president, he'll have a $400 million plane that has $1 billion of upgrades on it. They'll be donated to the foundation that he can use for the rest of his life, thank you to the Qataris. He will have billions and billions of dollars. He'll make the vast majority of his wealth in just a few years as president of the United States. He will set himself up in that respect. He'll have hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of excess campaign cash that he'll be able to use for whatever luxurious lifestyle he ever needs. And I imagine that may satisfy him as long as he gets his person in to replace him so they can continue that grift going forward.
The American people elected him. They said, that's our guy.
That's why my party needs to own up to that. And this is existential. We need to do better, and we need to. That's correct.
Are you faithful, hopeful that the Democratic Party are going to wake up in time to field a serious campaign that can compete with that very sort of dominant prevailing narrative?
Well, I think it starts yesterday. It's not about the guy or gal on the white horse to come save the day. It's not about 2028. It's about the midterms, which we just talked about. It's also about what happens between now and the midterms. It's about the rule of law. It's about courts. It's about governors. It's about states. It's about mayors. It's about we, the people, citizens. I mean, look, I was inspired in the No Kings Day. I mean, you guys know a little bit about Kings. I mean, the No Kings Day, 5 million people showed up on Trump's birthday. That gave me hope.
Which was a sort of a protest against authoritarianism?
It was, look, it was Justice Brandeis said, in a democracy, the most important office is not office of president, governor, mayor, office of citizen.
You're an entrepreneur. How do you think your party have done with appealing to entrepreneurs?
Terribly.
You preside over San Francisco, which is globally we think of as the center point of innovation and technology.
Terrible.
But I think the perception is that the Democratic Party don't like entrepreneurs, and the Republicans, it's the home of entrepreneurship. In fact, all of my friends that are entrepreneurs, if they were being honest in private, they would say that they lean towards the Republican Party as it relates to entrepreneurship.
And it's amazing. But it's interesting. Since 1989, the end of the Cold War,
yeah,
in the United States of America, there's been 52 million jobs created. There have been 3 Republican administrations, 3 Democratic administrations. So it's fair to say, how'd we do? Republican administrations, Democratic administrations. Since 1989, the end of the Cold War, the end of last year, 52 million jobs. And you'd say, well, it's maybe 50-50, maybe Republicans on the basis of your entrepreneur friends. Republicans probably did 60% of those jobs were created. Well, 50 of the 52 million were created under Democratic administrations. 1.9 million jobs created during Republican administrations. You look at the last 3 Republican presidents, they have one thing in common: recessions. During the last administration under Joe Biden, created 16.6 million jobs. And I know a lot of those were COVID jobs, but he blew past that after 18 months. He created 8 times more jobs than the last 3 Republican administrations combined.
But
this economy does better. Job creation thrives during Democratic administrations, but perception is exactly what you said.
Yes. So you gave me the logic.
I know.
But the brain isn't orientated
Exactly.
towards logic. It's narrative.
Where's the economy in this country? Why are we the 4th largest economy in the world? We have 4 of the top 7 market cap companies in the world. NVIDIA just came with $4 trillion market cap. We dominate 32 of the top 50 AI companies are right here in California. We dominate in every key industry. We're the biggest manufacturing state. We dominate, name an industry, California dominates.
So why are entrepreneurs
Big
so pissed
blue
off?
State.
Why are entrepreneurs in your state
Exactly.
pissed off?
71% of the GDP in this country are blue metro counties.
Elon left. He went to Texas.
He
said
left
that's
and
a
came
better-
right back. Where's Grok? Where's his R&D headquarters, world headquarters? Where are the vast majority of his jobs for SpaceX and Tesla? He did that because he wanted to make a buck so he can avoid capital gains and avoid income tax as he cashes out on 20 years of largesse by the taxpayers in California that created a regulatory environment that created the industry because of our vehicle emission standards and subsidized that industry with billions and billions of dollars of taxpayer money to make Elon rich. And then he turned his back so he didn't have to pay capital gains.
Do you know what I think?
And by the way, he's
Objective.
back. All his AI, where's all his AI? It's in California. Where are all of his research and development folks? All in California.
Everything you said might be true. And I don't know the details of it, so I can't comment on that. But again, perception.
I know.
Come back to perception.
I agree.
When over in the UK, when I watch the Democratic Party attacking these really successful individuals,
Hate that.
and Biden attacking Elon Musk. Look, I'm not going to go into the details of Elon Musk's and his imperfections and all these
Elon's
things.
unique in that
Elon's,
respect.
right? So
He
we'll
makes
go.
it easy to attack. Both parties are doing
But
that.
let's just try and hit this point, which is the Democratic Party tend to be the ones who are criticizing the world's most successful people.
I agree.
And saying that they're this and this, and never pausing to say, actually, they did something good as well. And it's the lack of nuance for me where I go, I can't trust that these people are just pure evil. I can't trust that they're just pure evil and only bad things, which is all I hear. Yeah. But on the right side, you might hear the opposite. Where is the nuance here? Like, can you say something positive about Elon Musk?
There's been no bigger champion of Elon Musk for 20 years than I have. I've been his biggest supporter. In fact, I have one of the first Teslas right off the factory floor. I've been his biggest promoter and supporter for decades and decades. So I've said that over and over and over again.
It all tends to be negative about these entrepreneurs. You know, you can understand from like left politics around the world does seem to have a certain disdain for successful entrepreneurs.
So let's talk about that. It is the worst part of my party. I can't stand it. I do not begrudge other people's success. I'm inspired by it. I admire it. We opened this conversation up, all these heroes of mine. Like and Richard Branson's a hero of mine. I love his success. I love his audacity. I love his ability to compete. I love his ability to promote, create jobs, opportunity, wealth. I think it is a big problem in the Democratic Party. And we do not do enough to make this fundamental point, you know, that you cannot be pro-job and anti-business, period. And we need to say that, and we need to demonstrate that. Look, it drove me crazy. Half my friends were up there, like maybe not even half, a lot more than half, were up there with Donald Trump when he got sworn in. And the symbolism of that was he's got the back, and they have his back, of entrepreneurs and dream makers in this country.
Yeah.
And I thought, Jesus, I mean, just that alone, where the hell was my party? Why aren't we making a case for entrepreneurs and business leaders?
Do you respect Elon?
I've long respected him, but he's changed in the last 7, 8 years. He just has. And I say that with so many mutual friends, universally saying that. In fact, I was one of the last to come around. I'm like, no, he's all right. Even after he left, quote unquote, Tesla left, which they never did. They didn't change, they didn't move a job. They just changed the corporate headquarters. He came back a few months later. You can go online and you can see a press conference I had when he moved his world R&D headquarters back to California. And I praised Elon. And that wasn't that long ago. That was after, quote unquote, he left the state of California. But he's different now. Something's changed. And now, of course, that's been exposed across the spectrum. It's not just from a prism of left and right. But I've long admired him. He created this entire market. And he's 100% right about this big, beautiful bill. He's 100% right that we're doubling down on stupid and we're investing in the past as the rest of the world is leaping forward. China's going to clean our clock as it relates to electric vehicles. They're going to clean our clock in terms of the future and dominate it because of some of what Donald Trump has just done and rolling back progress that was made over the last decade or so, particularly as it relates to what just occurred with the IRA and notably with the infrastructure bill that the President of the United States, previous president, passed. So I agree with him on a lot of things, but some character issues that I question.
I use his name, I guess, because he's now so influential in this country, but he's also like a figurehead of like a certain, you know, of entrepreneurship and innovation. So and now he owns X as well. So the platform's so big. Yeah. If you are ever to become president, what's your attitude going to be towards entrepreneurs like him? And how is that different to the Democratic
Celebrate, revere their entrepreneurialism. We celebrate them. We celebrate their contributions. Again, we don't, I mean, the idea that our party is branded by begrudging other people's success, it's devastating to, I think, to the aspirations of what it means. So much of what it means to be an American, California is the dream. It's attached to this notion of social mobility, that there's a limitlessness in terms of being and doing anything. And so my job as governor, and my job in any position, would be to create the conditions where people feel included, feel seen, where they can live their lives back, what I said earlier, out loud, and we create the conditions where their success becomes inevitable or irresistible. And I think a lot of what leadership is climate control, not in the sustainable sense, and it's no longer command and control. What I'm concerned about now is the command and control of crony capitalism coming back into the United States of America because of Donald Trump. You got to kiss the ring. You don't kiss the ring, it's going to be punitive. You want an exemption on the tariffs, just make a call, or rather, better yet, make a contribution. Maybe you make a contribution indirectly by buying some crypto, and that contribution then gets the benefit. Maybe you make a deal overseas on weapons, and we'll take care of the golf course. Maybe we'll take care of the new 2 towers for the family. That's what's happened under Trump in just 6 months. To a degree, never. It's unimaginable in the United States to see it at this scale, in this level. And that's, to me, not free enterprise.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.